there were these people from this church who had come to my dad's restaurant to eat. My dad owned the restaurant, and they'd seen how he was shorthanded on wait staff, and instead of complaining about the bad service that they were getting, the worship pastor of the church and several members had quietly gotten up during lunch rush and waited on tables at my dad's restaurant to help him out. Then they went back the next day, Gabe, and waited on tables again. And then a guy named Aubrey Edwards, who was the worship pastor, invited my dad to choir practice, my military Iranian dad. But because they were so kind to him, Romans 2, kindness leads to repentance, my dad said yes. And so my dad went to choir practice. Wow. And the worship pastor took a piece of paper and said, everyone who sings in the choir needs to volunteer at this man's restaurant. He needs help. And so for 2 weeks, they parachuted in, and they'd shown hospitality. They'd shown kindness to my dad. And so my story is not about an Iranian kid that turned out okay. My story is we went through traumatic hostility, and then it got hijacked by traumatic hospitality. You know, God's people showed up. They didn't ask me to show up at their church. They first showed up at my home. They showed up at my dad's restaurant. And they were just gracious, and they were kind, and they were hospitable. Within 5 years, I saw my entire family come to the Lord.